They go in. It is Go Big or Go Home. Go Big or Go Home goes in. Stall 4. That's it. We're set. They're off. They're racing over 5 furlongs for the EBF Fillies Novices Stakes. Go Big or Go Home was not the best away. Good start by Princess Alex. Also away well out wide of runners is Rare Jewel. Between horses races Keldeo. Tucked in towards the inside is Inns of York, racing just in advance of Bintal Fella. Then Go Big or Go Home nestled back in 6th position, followed through by Blue Ice, lengths off the leader, which is Keldeo, as they go inside the final 3. Keldeo by a neck to Red Jewel, travelling well in the silver jacket. Princess Alex to the inside, prominent in the black and white. A shake of the reins for Bintal Fella back in 4th place. Inns of York in the green to the inside. They're followed deeper out by Go Big or Go Home, and at the back still is Blue-Eyed Kate as they come back towards the final furlong. Rare Jewel being set alight by Danny Tudhope, hits the front towards the near side. Keldeo kept going on the far side. Bintal Fella trying to come out of the pack behind those. Inside the final half, Rare Jewel having to be shaken up all the way to the line, but she's going to win. Rare Jewel will go on to score. Bintal Fella closing in 2nd, back in 3rd Keldeo. They were in front of Go Big or Go Home and Princess Alex.
Pretty impressive from the very well backed Rare Jewel. Travelled powerfully, but not over generously this time around. It's 7, beats 3, plenty of promise in 2nd from Bintal Fella. 2, the previous winner Keldeo is 3rd, and green and only finding the penny dropping late. 5, Go Big or Go Home. But the winner is there in focus. She was the best looker in the paddock. She was pretty heavily backed overnight. She's bred to be a useful filly, and she looked it today, just travelling keenly and powerfully. 14.4, 11.19, 11.4, 11.6, the first floor splits. Right to picture, you can see there is greenness with Go Big or Go Home. When Jason Hart asks her to quicken, she just edges into the right. Never promises to win. The ears are pricked. She'll be better for the experience, but with a pedigree like that and price tags like that, you would have expected more. This is a good run from Bintal Fella. She's bred to be above average. She stays on really strongly. Good run from Keldeo. Fading late Princess Alex. Inexperience, a problem for 1 or 2 of these, but certainly not for Rare Jewel. An altogether different proposition this time around. 5-4 favourite, wins the first at Beverley.
Said she was backed in from bigger prices earlier. Rare Jewel has won and stamped her class, so she's won by a length over Bint Al Fella, who's run a very, very promising race on debut. 7-1. It's a race to watch from Beverley, or certainly take note of going forward. Right, first race of the day. We're sticking to 5 furlongs to the next race. In fact, half the card over that trip. 101.57, 1.57 above standard, and the 2-year-old to note, Rare Jewel wins. We're going to have another race at Beverley before we get going at Salisbury. Their first race will be 2:40. Like Beverley, they're racing again today. They've got a good race to look forward to in the form of the Sovereign Stakes. There's the outlook from top of the grandstand, just looking out over Salisbury and the Cathedral. Right, 2:40 will start with the Fillies Maiden, going through till 5:10. Good to firm in places. The Sovereign, the Group 3 feature down to 5. That comes up at 4:10. Looking forward to that Premier Fillies handicap at 4:40 as well.
We're really looking forward to the second day of the August Festival. Sovereign Stakes.
out the year?
It's huge. I mean, we know that Ladies' Day isn't for everyone. You know, we fully appreciate that, and it's something that we're very conscious of. But it does underpin an awful lot of our normal, regular days, and really adds to our financial pot.
What about the next couple? You have a Circus Day coming up. I think that's a week on Sunday, and then Beverley Bullet Day, Saturday coming up soon. So it's pretty busy.
It is, yeah. This is a busy time. We've only got 4 fixtures left. I don't know where the summer's gone. It's absolutely flown by. But yeah, Sunday racing, which is always a great family day next week, and then Bullet, which is our top racing day. We absolutely adore the Bullet. So 20th running of the Bullet. So we're really looking forward to celebrating that. We've got some past winners coming here, and we hope that the great tradition of really good sprinters carries on, and we get a really good winner of the Bullet.
You stole my line about the 20th renewal. Looking Border Lescott, I'm thinking Marek, thinking Alpha Delfini, and of course Tis Marvellous has won the last 2. The really good older sprinters have a fantastic record in the Bullet.
They do. I mean, we're really hoping that Judicial comes here. I know that the
He's won before, yep.
Camacho's got him lined up. Hope maybe for his swan song, who knows? But he adores Beverley. He absolutely adores Beverley. He holds the course record here, and so it'd be absolutely great to see Judicial and Tis Marvellous go head to head again.
Haven't got 10,500 here today, but it seems like a really nice holiday crowd.
Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, this day is always, it's grown over the years. And I think we have Ladies' Day yesterday, and I always nickname this one Ladies at Lunch Day. But it's really, really busy. So, chuck the bits for that.
Traffic might be better going out tonight, though.
Was the traffic a little bit bad? Was that ladies staggering, or was that just the traffic?
No, a few ladies, not staggering, unsteady. I will say that the funneling system down to the main roundabout didn't work quite as well as a few people hope, but otherwise a fantastic day. Thanks, Sally.
I'll make sure it's more like the Bullet next time.
You have the power.
That's elite level feedback, and no doubt they'll think on that for the rest of the day. The Bullet to come as well later in the season. Looking forward to that. Right, next race is the 2:30. Beverley Racecourse Sculpture Trail Nursery, 5 furlongs. Charlie Mason sent us to Sergeant Mayor 11-2, same price as Macaron. Zafir at 13-2, Carnaby Princess 15-2, Space Ninja 9-1, Naval Flight 10. Graham, we're going to join up with you and hopefully start with number 6, I think, Macaron, with Paul Hannigan, going to be in some very popular colours indeed.
Yes, Nick, very popular colours for a hugely popular man and sportsman, the mighty Rob Burrow. Said it before, never seen a more exciting scrum half with a rugby ball in his hand. A few other rugby league luminaries on deck here today, Barry McDermott, and they have a chance here. Macaron, number 6, trained by Craig Lidster, drawn 10, Paul Hannigan, who's an ambassador for the Rob Burrow Racing Club. First time in the colours, and I think in a very open race. Macaron has a chance here because he ran right well last time out in what was a fair race at Bath. That race is working out quite nicely. Baz Ball was the winner. A couple of others have run okay, and now new colours for Macaron, and in a wide open nursery, I think he's a player. So good luck to the Rob Burrow team here. Family, friends, all supporting one of the superstars of rugby league. That is number 6, Macaron. Plenty others to consider. We drop back 1 down. Space Ninja, 160 grand, son of Kodiak. Hasn't shown a right lot so far. You can see his demeanour is very laid back. His head is bowed low. His ears are pricked. He's had 3 runs so far. 9th of 12 at Thirsk on his latest run. Fading over 6 on soft. Equates to a very, very modest mark of 58. But based on what he's shown so far, he's nothing flash. Drop back 1 for a well-backed horse. This is Charlie Mason for Phil Dennis. David Evans, long journey from Abergavenny. He's got a visor for the first time. He's 0 from 5. He ran his personal best when 3rd in the Nottingham Nursery, and then he was 3rd again at Fosslas over 6, hanging left as he began to tire late on. If the headgear works, and the market suggests it might, then he could be a player here. He's drawn in stall 4 for Phil Dennis. Drop back 1, 12, Swiftly represents Cam Hardy and Richard Fahy, and Swiftly has shown glimmers, but only glimmers of promise so far. That's a comment which applies to plenty here. Drop back again. I think we'll miss out on number 15. If only they could talk. You know what happens next. And concentrate instead on number 9, Carnaby Princess, who's walking around really keenly and well. And I thought she showed a bit last time. 4th when 6 on soft ground at Donny, just getting tired late on. Behind her, Not particularly robust horse, number 8, Naval Flight, but looks really well. Her coat is really bright, not so big, but she just looks in really good health. Let's cut back towards the top of the paddock. The other one I want to look at, really, as for Swiftly, cheeky beast is for the first time, I didn't mention that. Let's pick up on another one who are just going to go out, one or two of the ones, 5 or 6 left to go out actually. Number 5 is Damia, Territories filly. 4th of 5, soft ground at Leicester last time, nothing flash, maybe the faster conditions might help. Let's pick them up as they go out. Riverview Law goes out. Top one, number 1, Sergeant Mayer, one of the better lookers for sure, but 62, the handicap mark is no bargain so far. Only 3 or 4 to go. This is the well-backed Charlie Mason about to go out with Phil Dennis on board, followed by number 9, Carnaby Princess. And last, but potentially not least, to go out in a biggish field of horses who haven't won so far is Naval Flight, who's not very big but looks really well. Good luck to all of them here, but especially good luck to Macaron in the colours for the first time of the Rob Burrow Racing Club. On you, Rob.
Yeah, sentiment no doubt shared by many. Thanks, Graham. Charlie Mason 7-2, 5-1 is Macaron's price. And now, Sergeant Mayer, 11-2, Zafir at 7s, Carnaby Princess is 15-2, Space Ninja 9-1, 10-1 Naval Flight, we just saw leave the parade ring. Damia is next in 12-1, Swiftly 16-1, Master Eli 18-1, Regal Solitaire 18-1. Next is Riverview, or 28-1, sorry, Riverview Law at 40s, and If Only They Could Talk, 66-1. They go about 2 and 14, those non-runners being Come On Irene and Equiart. Visor on for the first time, Charlie Mason heads the market, Steve.
Yeah, I think the outside of the whole field's the interesting one, If Only They Could Talk, because it's a bit like that. If they could talk, it might be able to make more sense of this race, because it is very tricky, I think. The favourite there, Charlie Mason, visored for the first time, but it's been running over 6 furlongs on soft ground. Maybe it's the switch to faster ground, but it doesn't appear to me like fast ground and over 5 furlongs is what Charlie Mason wants. So I was going to take a bit of a chance with one at a double figure price in Naval Flight, who you have to excuse 2 pretty ordinary runs in nurseries so far, but they were at much sharper tracks, and even though Naval Flight goes from the front or goes from a prominent position, I think Naval Flight might just be outspeeded by those sort of horses in the closing stages. And what I'm pinning my faith on is that third to Travel Candy at Beverley over this distance in a claimer back in May. And that form, by the context of this race, is pretty good. Travel Candy next time came out and won at Catterick in a race where Naval Flight was much further behind him that day. And then last time at Musselburgh, it didn't run particularly well, but maybe they just got away from Naval Flight in the closing stage. Maybe he's going a little bit quicker than, or she's going a little bit quicker. It gets her out of her comfort zone a bit, even though to get into that prominent position. So it's a difficult race, but if she can take advantage of stall 1 and get into a rhythm, David O'Mara's in great form. It's one of those which I'm taking a punt at.
Okay, we'll see. Danny Tudhope looking for successive wins in the first 2 races on the card after the impressive winner of the first. That was Rare Jewels, got that inside draw. Fair spread of pace as well, signed on pace potentially, even though we're only talking about 2-year-olds right across the track from the early stages. We'll see. That might bring in Macaron, who comes out from 10. Graham already saying that the feel-good story it would be, of course, were this horse to win first time in the Rob Burrow Racing Club colours.
I think that's one of the more likely ones, Macaron, to be honest, because that run last time out, although Macaron was put in his place a little bit by Bazball, who made all the running guys. Bazball at this sort of level is got quite a high level of form, and it ties in with Travel Candy because Bazball was second at Travel Candy at Catterick in that race where My Fancy Naval Flight was down the field. So that's kind of like it brings some solid recent form into that. Has to back it up because that was a handicap debut for Macaron, but the form of that race last time, the third home, Manali's run well since, so it stands up better than most bits of form in this race.
That's quite interesting as well. Seeing the declaration come through the other day on the track of the Carnaby Princess dropping down to the 5 for the first time, so we shall see it's drawn out that little bit further, and in fact the second widest draw we'll see. It is quite a competitive looking nursery. Charlie Mason heads the market, but a bit of a price. It is a race that's got quite an open look to it. Fires on for the first time, the favourite we'll see. Charlie Mason, Phil Dennis and David Evans is going to break from stall 4. One of a number of potentially leading chances in this. Won't be far from a jump. Here's Graham.
Nick and Steve, thank you. Welcome back to Beverley. No dramas behind the gates that we can see. We have 2 nurseries. This one, 5 furlongs and 1 over 7 in half an hour or so. I think they have one thing in common, unless my homework is mistaken. I think they're both maiden nurseries, effectively. I don't think we have a winner of any race of any description in either heat. But it's open, and you can take a positive view of that and think, well, if we can find one with a little bit of solid form and speed and possibly a touch of improvement, we might be onto something. For the record, I like Macaron and perhaps number 11, Zafea, as my 2 against the field. Number 6, Macaron, has been pretty well back now. It was a personal best when second behind Bazball at Bath last time. Loads of money for Rob Burrow Racing Club's Macaron. The form of that Bath race is okay, and I think Macaron has the speed to get a handy position from stall 10 under Hannigan and run a really good race. Haven't really talked about Zafea, number 11, too much, but this filly, I think, is probably in good nick. She's not from 6, but again, it was a personal best when second at Bath, travelling sweetly. That was the notable thing about her performance that day. The winner of the Bath race went on to run more than respectably at Windsor. So I'll take 6 and 11 as 2 tentative darts in a wide open race. The market is lively. Zafea is 17-2. Carnaby Princess is 8-1. She showed a glimmer last time. Naval Flight looked really well. Space Ninja hasn't shown a great deal so far. Nearly all in. Malcolm.
Slight problem, stall 4. That's it. They're off. They're racing for the Beverley Racecourse Sculpture Trail Nursery Handicap Stakes. Riverview Law away well. So too Naval Flight to the inside. Also showing some speed in the noseband is Regal Solitaire. Out wide, Macarone's away very well. Royal Blue, Yellow Hoop Cap. And wide of that one, Zafea is prominent. The white with the black seams and a red cap. Tucked in behind that one is Space Ninja. Further towards the far side, Master Eli is followed through over there by If Only They Could Talk. Swiftly's in the mix behind the pace. They're followed through by Carnaby Princess. Sergeant Mayer is well back in the field. Also well back is Damia as they continue their journey up the hill. Back inside the final 2 furlongs. Far side, Naval Flight kicks on by a length. Master Eli gets through to the inside and the cheek pieces. Near side, Macaron trying to pick up. Also near side, Zafea's trying to pick them up as well. And they're followed behind by Charlie Mason, who's trying to finish. So too is Swiftly. It's Macaron who's hit the front for the Rob Burrow Racing Club as they come back inside the final half. Macaron by a length. Zafea giving chase. Charlie Mason to the far side, but Macaron will go on to score. Charlie Mason for second. Zafea was behind those. They were followed by Space Ninja and Swiftly, who went past together for 4.
I'm sure the bumper crowd enjoying the sunshine are going to enjoy that result as well. Macaron has won, now representing the Rob Burrow Racing Club ownership for Craig Lister and for Paul Hannigan, and at the 5th time of asking has won. Perhaps a little luckless was the second, who was slightly impeded at the start of the race. Charlie Mason will watch that back in due course, but well done to all connected with Macaron, particularly the owners on hand there. Right, let's get to Salisbury and Lydia.
As promised, Meg and I are in the paddock for our opening race, the Beverley Stud British EBF Restricted Maiden Filly Stakes. Deep breath, over 7 furlongs. Let's have a look at horse number 4 first of all, shall we? That is L'Experienza, a newcomer.
She's a big girl, isn't she? She really has a lot of size, and I think she's still got a bit of strengthening up to do. A daughter of Expert Eye, who has lots of stamina on the dam side.
OK, we'll go right up to the top of the paddock, and the horse that's about to turn right towards us is number 5, Nothing to Fear. Another newcomer, this one trained by Harry Eustace.
And another who's got plenty of size about her as well. I suppose this time of year we start to see these bigger, more backward types. A daughter of Churchill. Interestingly, her dam is 22 years old now.
Wow.
She has got a great page. She's half solicitor, art connoisseur. But ultimately, again, probably one that's going to strengthen up and get better for time.
Yeah, she's from the family, the Dam family of Balanchine, the Irish Oaks and, the Oaks and Irish Derby winner in 2014. Right, up to the top of the paddock again and pick up number 1. Like a Breeze. Again, a newcomer, one of two for Richard Hughes in this contest.
Yeah, she's bred to get further. She's half relation to 4 winners. Pretty flashy daughter of Cracksman. Not quite as big as the others, but she's well in proportion. She's got a nice walk.
2 horses back to number 6, and this is Romanova, who was given a tough start to her career in the Star Stakes.
Yeah, she was aimed high, wasn't she? So she must be showing plenty at home. Quite keen that day. She's got a hood and a lip chain on, so things would suggest she's quite buzzy and forward-going, so she's going to have to relax better this time.
OK, up to the top again, and the second of the horses coming towards us is one of those with experience. It's number 10, She Wore No Jewels.
I thought she shaped with promise on debut, but then took a bit of a backward step at Doncaster last time, which was over today's trip. She's been pretty professional, shaking her head around a little bit, but nothing to worry about. A little bit weak compared to one or two of the others I'd have said.
2 horses back to number 8, and that's one of 2 for Rod Millman. This is Gone Like the Wind.
She looks as if she's going to be better once she's able to run in a grade sort of more suitable for her, really. Again, got plenty of size and probably going to be better for time.
OK, up to the top again. Second of those horses coming towards us is quite an interesting one. This is the daughter of Intella, number 7, Sky Blaze.
Yeah, already sort of caught my eye, this filly. I love the way she's dropping her head, really walking around nicely and making use of that big free shoulder. She got a lovely walk on her, and again, another who is going to strengthen up, but I'd say she's probably physically further forward than one or two others.
OK, 3 horses back to number 2, Falling for You. The other one of Richard Hughes is, and quite different from her stable companion in terms of likely stamina requirements.
Yeah, definitely. She is up in trip, but I thought she made a lovely debut at Windsor. This should be about the right sort of trip for her going forward. Quite strong, thick through her neck and shoulder, and yeah, pretty well set. I like this filly.
OK, right. Coming past us there, number 3, I Dare You. That is for William Muir and Chris Grassick.
I like her. She's a daughter of showcasing. I was actually at Newbury when she ran on debut with plenty of encouragement. I think she can take a big step forward and she might outrun her odds today.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Right, up to the top again and pick up the first horse coming towards us. This is the other Rod Millman runner, number 9, Shaw's Phoenix.
She ran with encouragement and was a real eye-catcher at Bath. And again, I was at Newbury when she ran next time, and to be honest, she just looked tall and really weak. Physically, she's certainly strengthened up. I think she looks to have improved between Newbury and today and been given plenty of time, which I like. So hopefully she can bounce back to a more similar type of run that she produced at Bath first time.
It's getting a little bit warm between her back legs, but it is a muggy day. Right, up to the top, the third horse coming towards us is number 12, La Sonambula, as the bell goes. She's a newcomer for James Ferguson.
A daughter of Massar. She was only 16,000 guineas as a yearling. Another who's quite tall, still a little bit weak in her hind quarter and got some strengthening up yet to do.
And behind her, the final one is number 11, Bramble Jelly for Dominic French-Davis.
The daughter of Soldier's Pool. She should be really pretty sharp compared to one or two pedigrees we've seen here. She was green at Newbury, however. She should take a step forward from that, but she will have to.
Yeah, I remember her dam, Jelly Munger, who won here at 66-1 on her racecourse debut. That was some while ago, back in 2014. OK, you've seen all of them for the first race here at Salisbury.
And the betting for it has Romanova at 9-4. The little week comes out of the Star Stakes, which received a boost, significant boost on Saturday. We'll see. Sky Blaze is 7-2. Falling for You is 5-1. Nothing to Fear at 9-1. There. Experienza is 10s now. I Dare You 12-1. I Like a Breeze at 14-1. Shaw's Phoenix is 14-1. 18-1. She Wore No Jewels and 40-1. And bigger about the others. Little unease about the favourite, but Romanova heads the market for the first of the year.
Yes, and Romanova showing signs of being something of a handful, given all the aids that Ollie Sangster has applied. Hooded since debut, hooded here again, but she seems to have got down to post perfectly fine.
Yeah, Asheen was just really quiet on her, let her trot away for probably half a furlong or so, and then just lobbed her down last of all of the runners, and she's got down there nice and relaxed, which is great to see, but she was really sort of grinding her teeth and chomping on the bit going round. She had a lip chain on, and signs would suggest that she's quite a handful and forward going, especially considering how keen she was on debut.
But the fact that she started out at listed level in a race won by her stable companion Shawari suggests that there must be some ability there as well that Ollie has seen.
She must be working well for them to start her at that level for sure. You know, she's ultimately drop back down into a maiden, which is nice to see, and hopefully she can gain valuable experience, and you'd like to see her with her head in front. But if she does the same thing at Sundown and pulls that hard, I think she's going to ruin her chances no matter what the grade is. So she does have to relax, and hopefully Oisin can get her to do so from stall 3. Maybe a little bit of cover will help.
Well, we're talking about form. You mentioned in the paddock that you like I Dare You, finished 6th behind Clifton Bay, and Bramble Jelly was a place behind her on that day as well.
Yeah, I just thought she was quite a nice type of filly, a daughter of showcasing, and she ran with plenty of encouragement at Newbury on debut. A little bit green on and off the bridle, but finished really well, and I just thought she could take a proper step forward today, and she was about 11 or 12 to 1. I think she could potentially outrun her odds.
Yeah, and I thought that she went quite well too. And Bramble Jelly, what did you think of her? She was green as well and was tardy at the start.
Yeah, another who's entitled to take a pretty big step forward. I just wonder if I Dare You caught my eye more, just had a better finishing effort. Doesn't mean Bramble Jelly can't step forward as well, but I thought I Dare You was the one to take out of it. I know they replace a part, seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But for whatever reason, I Dare You was the one that took my eye most.
Yeah, let's hope Bramble Jelly doesn't take after her mother, because Jelly Munger never won after her debut on the flat, and she won her debut over hurdles and never won again in that discipline either. Right, the betting told us that they're quite keen on the newcomer Sky Blaze, which you can understand from pedigree.
Definitely, yeah. She's a daughter of Intello, and most of her family were best at around 10 to 12 furlongs. This is a nice starting point for her. She was a filly with size and scope in the paddock. She looked to have a really lovely attitude as well. She was probably, of the newcomers, the one I was most drawn to.
Yeah, she's got to deal with stall 11 though, on her debut over this 7. And then there's Falling For You, who'll be breaking from stall 4, and she showed quite a bit at Windsor on debut.
Yeah, she did. For me, I thought she was the most likely winner today if it wasn't a debutant. She's up in trip. I thought that was a massive help to her. It was a really nice start at Windsor. She was given an educational ride, and she ran home pretty eye-catchingly and strongly. So, you know, lots of positives about her. She looked well in the paddock, and she's by no new never, suggesting this trip is probably ideal. 1 or 2 of these are probably starting here and will end up over much further.
Yeah. OK, just a handful of those to go forward, but they seem to be loading pretty placidly, so it's time to introduce our commentator for the second day here at Salisbury. It's Richard Hoyles. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Lydia. Yep, a bit breezier up here than it was yesterday. That cutaway's been removed as well, so just helpful at their backs up the home straight. All set for this Barley Stud British European Breeders' Fund Restricted Maiden Fillies Stakes. Just one I Dare You out of line for the 7 furlong contest that gets us underway. And they're off and racing. She wore no jewels, slightly out to the left and rousted along L'Experienza on debut. Is out well. Falling For You disputes the early running with Romanova. Also down the centre is Sky Blaze, the debutante in blue and white. Red and blue belongs to Bramble Jelly. They're tracked by a Like a Breeze in the checks, just ahead of Gone Like the Wind in the pale blue. Second half of the field made up of Shaw's Phoenix. Behind these on the outside, She Wore No Jewels. An early reminder for I Dare You, who's about 3 from the back at this stage as they continue their progress up the home straight. Still towards the back we have La Sonambula, who's being ridden along at this stage as they continue their progress through the first quarter mile or so. L'Experienza is still right to the tail as well. So out in the lead it is Romanova, who has the advantage by a length from Falling For You as they pass the 3. Pushed along then is Sky Blaze as they continue their progress on down towards the 2 furlong marker. A Like a Breeze towards the inside, then behind these is Bramble Jelly as Romanova still leads with 2 furlongs to go. Falling For You is sticking to the task. Sky Blaze has always been in 3rd place. Indeed, there's been very little change in the order amongst the principals. Romanova with Falling For You hasn't given up the ghost yet, but he's hanging in behind and has 2 lengths to find. Back in 3rd place is Sky Blaze, then a Like a Breeze, but it's Romanova who's coming clear in the closing stages. The Sangster colours, with Ollie doing the training, successful in the opener. Romanova by 5 lengths, Falling For You and Sky Blaze, and that was just about the order of the first 3 throughout. She Wore No Jewels made progress to come home in 4th place.
Yeah, Romanova has won quite impressively for Oisin Murphy, and Ollie Sangster returned the 5-2 favourite ahead of in second Falling For You for George Rook and Richard Hughes, and third was number 7, the newcomer Sky Blaze for Rob Hornby and Race Beckett. As Richard was mentioning in commentary, the placings didn't really change from the early stages. It's quite a similar story here at Salisbury yesterday as well, but in the end Romanova, who led from quite an early stage, has been quite impressive.
Yes, she has. She's won really well in the end, and you know, settled lovely under Oisin in front. I think Oisin's done well here. He's taken his initiative when ultimately they jumped out the stalls and everyone was looking around for a leader. Oisin's decided he'll let his filly roll along. She's relaxed lovely, and she's kept finding and responding to pressure.
She has, and she's settled a lot better than last time. It looks like she's learned quite a bit mentally from Sandown.
Yes, she did, and I think the fact that she got to dictate her own fractions was a massive positive. No one was really surrounding her. Maybe she enjoyed being ridden that way instead of being in amongst horses, but she did drop her head well. She came out to stall 3 and jumped perfectly okay. I thought at this point that she maybe would be inclined to sit in a back box seat, but ultimately no one went to take the lead, and he's just allowed his filly to roll into a nice rhythm.
From a wider draw in 11, Rob Hornby has bustled up Sky Blaze to take a prominent position, and that has certainly been an advantage, I think.
It has, yeah. Like you said, the first 3 here were the first 3 home, and Sky Blaze just showed a bit of inexperience. She was a little bit green next to the other runners and a bit on and off the bridle, but she did stick to her task quite nicely. I think education is going to have done her the world of good, and she's going to take a nice step forward next time. But that draw didn't help her, and Rob did have to really encourage her to go forward.
And just ahead of her and inside her is Fallen For You, who's backed up her Windsor debut.
She has, and she's been in a really lovely position throughout, travelled nicely, and I thought at one point, coming into about the 2 furlong marker, she was going to really throw up a challenge to the eventual winner, but she sort of just weakened out of things a little bit. Maybe they'll be looking at actually dropping her back to the 6. She showed a bit more speed in the early parts of the race today. Just thought she was a little bit weak to the line.
From on the outside there with the brown cap, She Wore No Jewels has really made some nice late progress. This is more like her debut than last time out, because she kind of regressed from first to second start, and this is a bit better.
Yeah, it was a bit better. You know, she just looked as if she was a little bit awkward, and again another one who's still, despite having a few runs, a bit green. You can see an ear flicking every now and then, so she's clearly still learning on the job. That will be, you know, a step in the right direction again. Ultimately, she'll be able to run against the right type of level horses next time. She'll get a handicap mark after this before.
Yeah, she was in 12th, but we saw quite a lot of daylight as well. I Dare You has ended up finishing off the race quite well and has finished close up with Bramble Jelly as they did at Newbury.
Yeah, they both sort of ran similar races really, and actually both were still a little bit on and off the bridle through the race. So I think they're going to take a little bit of sort of educating and racing to really get them to sharpen up, but none of them were anywhere near good enough. The winner, who's fairly bolted up in the end.
Yes, she has. Amanda Rose won nicely for Oisin Murphy and Ollie Sachs. So it'll be interesting to hear what Ollie, who is here today, plans to do with her, and also Shawari, the stable companion that beat her on debut on Romanova's debut in the Star Stakes.
Yeah, that form gets better. She's boosted her stablemates, and that form's already significantly boosted over the weekend. So Shawari, she's definitely one of the leading light juvenile fillies. Her stablemate returned 5-2 and favourite winning here, beating Falling For You 11-2, and Sky Blaze, who returned 4-1. Wide margin success for the winner. And the time was clocked up in 1:26.44, which was under a second slower than standards. We whiffed away from Beverley, their second of 6. It was the nursery, and it was won by the well-backed Macaron for Paul Hannigan, Craig Lisset and the Rob Burrow Racing Club. Charlie Mason, 3-1 favourite, slightly on the back foot from the very start, finished in second. Zafia, 17-2, was third. What about the time? The winner coming back a length clear of the second, 2:59, above the standard, but no doubt a very popular result. Macaron winning at Beverley.
Paul Hannigan wins on Macaron. Paul Hannigan, I've seen you win a lot of big races. Haven't seen you punch the air quite as you did then. That must have meant a lot to you.
That meant a lot, yeah. I think as well, with me and Phil, you know, the CEO, has been putting ourselves under a lot of pressure, you know, trying to get the horses. And this caught my eye one day. And I thought, yeah, let's try this one. And that was a special feeling. It really was. You know, everyone knows Rob, you know, with the MND situation, and I'm actually speechless. You know, it means that much. So chuffed.
You're speaking very evocatively. It's a bloody obvious question from me, but why has this fella inspired you so much, and lots of other people, so much in your professional and in your personal life as well?
Well, I think mainly me being from Warrington and brought up in rugby league, especially through my parents. You know, we've known of Rob a long time, and I was blessed to meet him many years ago, and he was, you know, still is so knowledgeable about his racing, and it took me back a bit. So straight away I thought, this is an absolute legend of a guy, and he's just had so much bad luck, I'm afraid, with MND. But saying that, he's been an inspiration to me and many more.
Last question. What did you say to him? What was the first thing you said to him when you jumped off just now?
Do you know what? I can't really. I think I said something in the lines of, it's about time I pulled my finger out.
So well done. Great story. Well done. Thank you. Well, never shy about stealing good phrases from other broadcasters, and one from this guy, Barry McDermott. If he says it's Christmas, it's time to put your tree up. Barry, welcome to Racing TV. I know you're here with the Burrow family, lots of other rugby league guys, and for Macaron to win, really well backed at the off. The script doesn't always go to perfection, but that one just did.
No, well, we've had quite a few scripts that didn't go according to plan, but yeah, a perfect race. And of course, Paul Hannigan, such an experienced rider, talked us through, and having sat through a few of them, everybody starts off with a good plan, don't they? But Paul executed his plan. You know, he always looked comfortable, even when he was doing the parade, he always looked comfortable. So we're just delighted. Delighted, of course, for Rob and Lindsay and his family, but for everybody that's involved in the racing club.
Rob's little son holding the trophy aloft, an absolute treat. Just tell me a little more about the club. Are you open to new members? I believe it's 3 horses, 77 quid a year. Seems to be working really well.
Yeah, it's evolved a couple of times over sort of 3 years that we've been doing it. Burrow 7 was the first one. We've got Beat Burrow, who's another jumper, and now, you know, we're sort of trying to make it a 12-month-a-year racing club where for 77 quid people can get involved by the membership, and they just get to experience something that I think, whilst you're raising money for charity, MND is an awful disease, but whilst Rob's around, his desire is to make people understand how it affects everybody, what they can do to help, how they can contribute, keep telling his story, because he's such an inspirational man. You know, from our perspective, keep telling your friends about Rob Burrow, and the Rob Burrow Racing Club is quite a cheap way to just support him, get involved, and have a bit of fun while you're doing it as well. They're not always as good as today, but as anybody that follows racing will know, you know, the bad days are far outweighed by the good ones.
It's an astonishing story all around. Take me back in time, Barry, when you used to be sitting in the dressing room before a big Leeds Rhinos game, and you saw Rob Burrow across the sheds. You must have thought, it's going to be all right.
Rob Burrow was a fantastic player, and because of the last 3 years of his life, everybody now is awake to Rob Burrow in the context of his, you know, of his MND. But before that, he was an incredible rugby league player, and I loved playing with him, and he'd always be on my team sheet. I was fortunate only to play against him once. And believe you me, he made me look foolish as he did on a regular basis in that changing room that you were talking about. But great player. He's not been burdened by the inevitability of what's in front of him. He's campaigning to make sure that everybody that follows him, you know, just has a little bit of an easier path. So for that, we all love him, and we support him in any way we can.
You speak beautifully about him. Barry McDermott, thanks for your time. Good luck, continued success to the Rob Burrow Racing Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Barry. Well done, all connected with Macaron, and also hearing from the former champion jockey as well, Paul Hannigan. You can see how struck he was by the success of Macaron, the popular winner of the second race at Beverley. From there, we go back to Beverley for the third, which is another nursery, the Happy Retirement and Done Nursery. 7.5 furlongs to the trip. Brandaisy 11-4, Double Talk at 4-1, Lubiere 7-1. What Would I Know 15-2, Seahorse Sid 8-1. They're the single figure prices, double figures the others. Let's get to Graham.
No chance we'll beat the positivity of the Rob Burrow Racing Club story with Macaron, but this is another tightly knit nursery. Let's have a look. He's on his toes and he looks bonny and well. Number 2, Surface to Air. He's nothing special, but he has shown ability. 4th at Leicester and in a Chepstow Maiden. In the context of this race, those bits of form read okay. He's 0 from 6, but he looks fine. He's alert and well, and he has his chance in a wide open race. We drop back. Let's drop back actually 3 or 4 if we can, Dan. A few of the longer priced horses going through shot, but definitely to talk about number 1, Double Talk. This is a quite nicely bred Night of Thunder filly, trained by Charlie Johnson. More scope than most. She's quite lengthy. She does have more physical presence than a lot of these, and I think we can probably forgive her plain performance last time because she was out on the wing on softish ground at Thirst. She was against the track bias. Having said that, she was well beaten, but she's got one bit of form when second, really good second behind Keep Warm in a Pontefract nursery that would give her a really good chance here if you can put a line through the first run, and there are valid reasons for doing that. You could give Double Talk a solid chance despite top weight. As you can see, she fills the eye, and she's drawn 1 with Ben Curtis on board. She should be in position to get a completely clear shot at this, and no track bias in play today that we know of. 12 is worth mentioning. This is Bellstar, who is beautifully turned out by her groom. She seems to be in good form, Bellstar. She's 0 from 6. But she seemed to run well last time, over course and distance on soft for minor honours. I have to say the first, the third and the fourth from that race haven't really polished the form, but she did record a personal best over this course and distance. Drop back a couple. Here we have the leggy, number 4, Gelded Son of Showcasing. This is Peaceful Protest. Form figures not inspiring. 6, 7, 9 in novices, but glimmers of ability. Still green at Haydock last time, I'm sure of that, and now has cheap pieces for the first time into handicap company. A horse is going out now. Most of the jockeys up and away. Another tightly knit nursery. No winners on view, but one of this bunch will rectify that matter soon enough. Back to Beverley shortly.
Have another look at the betting. Brand Daisy is an 11-4 shot, Double Talk 4-1. Lubier, who's definitely a mover from earlier, 7-1. Would have been significantly bigger than that this morning. Next is the 15-2 shot, What Would I Know? Seahorse Sid 8-1. Surface to Air 11-1. Bellstar 11-1. Peaceful Protest 14. Stamper 14s, and Rockin' the Free World, that same price as well, 50s. And bigger the others, another nursery. And Brand Daisy 11-4 favourite for this one. The obvious starting point, Steve?
Yes, that was obviously a decent start to handicap life at Haydock, finishing second to Nelly Laylax, and that kind of came a little bit out of the blue. It was a 33-1 chance, despite it being 7 runners. It was very testing ground, and can Brand Daisy run up to the same sort of form on a much faster surface? And you're going in an 11-4 shot in what is a pretty open race, like Graham said. There's no winners in either of these divisions of the nurseries, and although Brand Daisy has that recent form, you're taking it on trust that Brand Daisy will be as good on this faster surface.
Can you see the money angle for Lubier, who has rather halved in price from earlier?
Yeah, there's a few that have been well backed.
Yeah.
Lubier being one of them. Seahorse Sid gelded first time, and also What Would I Know? Quite apt. What Would I Know? But Lubier, yeah, you're kind of looking it by definition that these nursery handicaps are inexperienced horses. A lot of them stepping into handicaps for the first time, and Lubier has run with credit a few times. Held up last time over 6. It'd be interesting to see if Lubier is ridden a little bit more prominently. I'd say that would be the angle that I would suggest was the reason why Lubier's well back, because from stall 3 you'd imagine, having been held up in 3 races, that Ali Rawlinson might be instructed to go a little bit more forward this time.
I would say drawn 2. There's a bit of pace low as well. Double Talk's got that inside berth in 1. Surface to Air is in 4 as well, so we'll see whether they're going to be going fearsome fractions or not in the early stages of the race. Won't be long before they're going behind. I think I've asked you this already with the sprint a little bit later. Are you satisfied that we've at least mentioned the likeliest winner of the race?
We've got to mention Double Talk. That would be my fancy in the race. She's more experienced than some. She's had 5 races. She ran really well first time in a handicap at Pontefract, went second to Keep Warm, and Keep Warm was a horse in form because Keep Warm had won the previous start as well, is unbeaten in handicap, so that was a good effort. And then last time, you've got to forgive that performance, but it was on soft ground, and at Thirsk in stall 1, where the winner game breaker was 9, the runner-up 8, and then it went 6-7. So I think that was an easy run to forgive. Back on faster ground, I think Double Talk from that stall 1, we presume with Johnston horses, rightly or wrongly, that they're quite happy racing with the pace.
Okay.
And from stall 1, I think that would be certainly Double Talk in a race that Mark Johnston's won 3 times in the last 8, and now his son has got to prove he can do it as well.
Okay, right, number 1, who's drawn in 1, and I think it's taken the top spot in the betting as well. For the Happy Retirement and Nursery, 11-4. Double Talk's been really well back before the off, 4-1 into 11-4. Brown Daisy was favourite, but there's now quite a disparity between the front 2, and it's a different look with Double Talk favourite. Lubier 13-2. Surface to Air 8-1. What Would I Know 17-2. Seahorse Sid 12's Bell Star. 14s and bigger the others, so the inside draw. Double Talk, very well fancied, and being strongly back before the off. Graham, let's get to you.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, Double Talk is very, very strong in the market. Stable, good record in the race physically. She stands over most of these. She has top weight, but her best form, i.e. the nursery performance that Steve touched on just now, when she only just failed to hold a bang form Keep Warm over 6 at Ponty, would give her a great chance here. There are valid excuses for Pontefract first last time. She was on soft ground. She was marooned in the centre, not the place to be from the 1 box. So I think she's interesting here. It's really not much of a race, this. Very few real strong improvers on deck. So she sets the bar at a reasonable level based on that Pontefract placed performance. Her keenness has been an issue. Keep an eye on that from the inside gate. Ben Curtis will be keen to get her handy, but also keen to keep her nice and relaxed, because this is a stiff 7 furlongs, 96 yards here. You have to get the trip thoroughly. She looked really well in the paddock, and she's very solid. Brandaisy is now a 7-2 chance. As Steve said, she seemed to improve last time. It was Haydock deep ground. She did plug on from the rear, never really looked like beating Nellie Laylax, but Nellie Laylax is a pretty useful horse who's won against him. So she's here on the back of a personal best, Brandaisy. Interesting to see how she tracks in the early stages, because you wouldn't want to see her to get quite as far back as she might do here. But I think she's got more solid credentials than most. Lubier has been well found at biggish prices. I wonder if she's a bit of a quirky filly, because she seemed edgy down at the start. Ali Rollinson had his feet out the irons, then dismounted briefly. She's a cut-eye glory filly who's had 3 runs, equating to a mark of 55. Not much promise last time, but the market move is notable. 2 or 3 to go. Haven't really had a chance to say a proper hello to Malcolm Tomlinson, but I'm sure you enjoyed Ladies' Day yesterday. It's a pretty good crowd here for day 2 at Beverley, Malcolm.
It really is actually, Graham. Yeah, really nice atmosphere today. A little bit calmer, obviously. It was pretty mad yesterday, but terrific fun. Great atmosphere. Last one going in. Seahorse Sid completes the lineup. That's it. We're set to race. They're ready. Just held momentarily. That's it, they're off. They're racing for the Happy Retirement and Nursery Handicap Stakes. Good start in the black and white by Bellstar, Horse Nose Bandit. Also well in the stripes is Lubier, and towards the near side, Double Talk got a fast start in the silver jacket. What Would I Know tucks in behind them with Seahorse Sid and Patasola out deep, followed through widest of all by Rockin' the Free World. Brandaisy centre pack sits towards the inside rail. That one's followed towards the back of the field by, at this stage, Peaceful Protest, who's well towards the back. Stamper is another one towards the back of the field as well. So too Nana's Ancestors as they take the descent. Inside the final 4.5 furlongs they come then. And it's Double Talk and Ben Curtis off the front by a length and a half to What Would I Know racing second. Lubier, the striped jacket, out wide. Tight down the inside, Surface to Air, green jacket, red sleeves is next, followed by Seahorse Sid in the red headgear. Out wide of that one is Bellstar. That's followed by Patasola's centre field, followed by Rockin' the Free World. Brandaisy's well back. They're followed through by Peaceful Protest towards the rear of the field, and tailing off Nana's Ancestors and Stamper. Up the hill they come back towards the final 2 furlongs. Double Talk off the front by a length and a half. half to What Would I Know racing second. Back in third, Surface to Air to the inside. Lubiere is next. They're followed by Seahorse Sid trying to stay on Patasola. And Brand Daisy now has room and is trying to pick up, but plenty of work to do from there. As inside the furlong they go. Double Talk being attacked by What Would I Know towards the near side. Seahorse Sid trying to finish behind them. Brand Daisy still coming as well with Lubiere. Double Talk tackled by What Would I Know. Double Talk has made all to What Would I Know in second. Tight behind. Seahorse Sid went past with Lubiere in front of Brand Daisy, Patasola and Peaceful Protest.
Yeah, she was well backed. Also tonight, Thunder Double Talk, who's won at the 6th lifetime attempts. They wandered into the centre of the track. She was looking to shoo away What Would I Know, and the 5-2 favourite did that to the tune of about 3 parts of a length. Has got an entry at Leicester next week, so we'll see whether that's taken up. Double Talk well backed wins as we go to Salisbury.
Back here at Salisbury, Meg and I are going to have a look at this Silvio Insurance Brokers Novice Stakes over 7 furlongs. This, fatally, is where we said that Welif was a bit too short and there were horses up against him, so cue him dotting up by several lengths. We'll start with number 2, shall we? This is Silver Atom, who at the age of 5 is making his flat debut.
Yeah, and also stable debut now with Archie Watson. Pretty low-rated maiden over hurdles, and ultimately has got quite a lot to do on the flat today.
OK, let's go 2 horses back to number 4. This is another newcomer, a total newcomer. Solar Portrait at the age of 3 making his racecourse debut for the Kublers.
Yeah, son of Zophany, who cost 25,000 guineas as a yearling. Pretty fresh and showing an experience, I think it's fair to say. He's been noisy because everyone else is pretty quiet, so we'll keep an eye on how he behaves once the jockey's on board.
She's giving the crowd a thrill at least. Right, to the top of the paddock. And this is Welif for Owen Brothers, who won at Leicester on debut pretty smoothly, in different conditions though.
Yeah, it was soft ground that day, and, you know, a son of Lope de Vega, you usually think that they do appreciate that juice in the ground. On that performance, he is the one to beat. He's a big, strong colt. Will the ground be too quick? That's the question.
OK, right. I'll allow 3 to go through in front of us and we'll come back and have a look at 3 in more detail. But up at the top of the paddock is number 2. Sorry, it's going to be the second of those, apologies. Dream Rocker, the second of the number 5 that we're taking a look at. 50-1, 6th behind Endless Power on debut, but is a half-sister to Dream Loper, who was a dual Group 1 winner.
Yeah, I suppose that's the flashy part about her pedigree. Her debut effort at Chelmsford was okay. The race hasn't worked out anything spectacular. She's quite a big filly, but she seems to be sort of legs all over the place still, and I just think potentially she's going to take a run or two to really sort of pull herself together. I'm not surprised to see that she's been given plenty of time before she has been seen on the racecourse.
OK, up to the top left again, and we can pick up number 6, and this is Full Regalia for Charles Hills, having her first start for that yard, having previously been with the Gosdens. Shaped quite well on debut.
She did, yeah, and backed it up with possibly not quite as good an effort, but still wasn't bad. Quite a nicely put together filly, actually. She's not huge, but she's well in proportion. She's got a nice forward walk, and she's got some okay form behind her name, I think, and I could see her running okay today.
Yeah, she could be a threat, and the other potential threat to the favourite up to the top of the paddock is the second of those coming towards us as the bell goes. The last one we'll look at. Number 3, Crown Dreams, has finished second twice.
Yes, and was behind Welif last time. Now, as a physical and watching him walk around, I think he'll appreciate this better ground a lot. He's quite light on his feet, and he's quite an athletic, good moving type of horse. So I actually think that this sounder surface will really help him. The fact that he's got a good bit of weight off of Welif could help as well. Can he close that gap? Not too sure.
£7 better terms to do so. So you've seen all 6 for our second race here at Salisbury.
Yes, and 4-9 is the price now for Welif to make it 2 from 2 was 10 to 11 there. Thereabouts earlier on. Crown Dreams is an 11-2 shot, so we'll see whether Crown Dreams on this occasion can beat Welif. Dream Rocker 7-1, 17-2 Full Regalia, Solar Portrait 25-1, and the big price outside of Silver Atom 125-1. 4-9 for Welif, Lydia, potentially make it 2 from 2.
And I was just chatting with his trainer, Owen Burrows. If you were watching our next video, you've seen that already. If you weren't, well, he doesn't really know about the ground. It was soft ground at Leicester, and this very different ground, good to firm in places here today. He's pleased him since his last run. The horse got as far as getting an entry as a 2-year-old, but just had a few sort of niggling problems, had a bit of a niggling problem at the start of the year, and hence we didn't see him until, for the first time, 15 days ago when he beat Crown Dreams, got there eventually, at Leicester on debut quite impressively, and now Crown Dreams reopposing with the £7 pull at the weights. So Crown Dreams a threat potentially with that weight turnaround. Full Regalia as well on the form of her debut?
I think so, and back to 7 furlongs I think is a positive for her as well. She did run very well on debut at this trip, was then stepped up and possibly wasn't quite as good when weakened a bit late on, and obviously has changed stable and ownership since. But I thought that she's run to some pretty solid levels, and like I say, at this trip that could certainly help her probably put in a better performance again.
Yeah, she's going to have to get the start right. She was slowly into stride on her debut, and then she ducked right at the start on her second start. Waleef and Crown Dreams, and I suppose the negatives from looking at them comparatively is that was Crown Dreams' second start, wasn't it? He's already had the opportunity to potentially take a step forward, and actually the two runs are pretty similar, aren't they?
They are, yeah, and I suppose we're looking now today at the weight difference and the ground difference compared to Leicester, rather than comparing Crown Dreams' own 2 runs. He ran at very similar, solid type of level, probably took a bit of a step forward, because I'd have said that Waleef was probably a better, or looked a better horse than the horse that beat him first time out. Now, the only thing I would say physically, Waleef, what I did notice in the paddock is that in front he was turned out on both his forelegs, and whether he'll let himself down on the ground would be the slight concern for me. Owen has said he's had niggly problems. Physically, that's something that I did notice. So it's an unknown. If he handles the ground, he probably looks to have the biggest engine, but it would be a question.
Okay. And you were being very polite, but I got the sense that you didn't really like Dream Rocker, did you? You thought she was all over the place.
She was, to be honest with you. She's quite big, and she did seem as if it was almost 2 parts put into one. I think front end and back end were doing different things, and she just still looks like a big baby. She's still backward. No, I'm not surprised to see she's taken time. She's not fully furnished by any means yet. She could get there eventually, but I think time is the main thing with this one.
Yeah. As I mentioned, the half assistance to Dream Loper, a dual Group 1 winner, but also to Dream Weaver, who stayed very well. Dream Loper more effective over 1 mile and 9 furlongs, and Dream Weaver a proper thorough stayer, who did take a bit of time. Right, last ones to go forward for this novice. Beverley, Joe and Richard.
Thanks, Lydia. Crown Dreams is getting worked up in stall 5, trying to get out underneath, and is now getting stock parked on the side of the stall. So Crown Dreams continues to be edgy as Waleef comes forward. Waleef, the last one for the Sorvio Insurance Brokers Novice Stakes. All 6 stand well, and they're off. And Silver Atom on his first start on the flat is very slow away. Solar Portrait on debut is very slow away, as Crown Dreams it is who leads early on. Full Regalia races in second. In third place in the maroon colours is Dream Rocker. Waleef making ground quite rapidly up on the outside in the yellow jacket, now moves through to sit outside Crown Dreams. So Crown Dreams has the lead in pink and green, Waleef in the yellow jacket, and Full Regalia in third in the two-tone blue. Dream Rocker comes next in the maroon jacket, with in 5th place Solar Portrait in the pale blue, and Silver Atom, the grey, is at the back of the field. So they're racing down towards halfway. Crown Dreams has the lead from his Leicester Conqueror Waleef in second. In third is Full Regalia on the rails. No cutaway now to release Full Regalia on the running rail, with Dream Rocker up on the outside. Then Solar Portrait and Silver Atom is still outpaced. 2.5 furlongs to go. Crown Dreams with Waleef just having to be shaken up. Down the outside, Dream Rocker is beginning to try and organise a challenge, and Full Regalia also angles out, looking for a split amongst the principals. Dream Rocker on the outside of Waleef, who's hard at work now, trying to buffer the way through. Full Regalia had the door slammed in her face, and she has now to come towards the outside. Dream Rocker has the lead from Waleef. Full Regalia is now out in the clear, has 2 lengths to find, is closing now on the run to the line. Dream Rocker from Full Regalia, and Dream Rocker's home in front. Full Regalia just had to switch, and that was costly. Waleef was third, Crown Dreams was fourth.
Dream Rocker has won on her second start. Ed Walker is the winning trainer, and it's a quick-fire double in the first 2 races for her jockey, Oisin Murphy. Full Regalia had no luck in running whatsoever. We'll take a look at the head-on. She looked to be travelling really well. She might have been a bit unfortunate, John Marquand and Charles Hills, despite that margin of defeat. The favourite, Willie, could manage only third, Richard Kingscott and Owen Burrows, and in fourth, that was Crown Dreams. Right, keep an eye on the horse on the inside with the white cap with the star, brought to challenge between in yellow Relief, and on the inside, Crown Dreams. The head-on will be more informative, but she's going really well for Regalia, and at that point, understandably, Oisin Murphy chooses to make a decisive challenge on Dream Rocker.
Yeah, Dream Rocker was a bit on and off the bridle throughout, but is learning on the job, and you know she's got it done nicely in the end. She's still big and green and raw. I think there's plenty of improvement, like I said beforehand, still to come. But Oisin was positive and managed to get a smooth run on the outside of the others, and that was obviously key.
Okay, so this is what the stewards will be looking at.
I think actually a little bit before that there was plenty of room, and I think there was edging over from both Relief and Crown Dream ever so slightly, that it meant that by the time Full Regalia was able to get through, the gap had kind of gone. It was kind of like slow pressure coming from both sides. I think I'd be unlucky if either Richard or Kevin get in too much trouble for that, because I think it was a little bit from both angles.
We're trying to get a longer replay so that can sort of amplify what you were saying there. Silver Atom, on his flat debut, kind of fell out of the traps, never really able to get involved. The newcomer Solar Portrait is watching the others on as well. In the early stages, it is Crown Dreams who goes to the fore, and he's accompanied by Relief. Full Regalia is slipstreaming Crown Dreams against the rail, and mid-division, or tracking, just too wide there, is the winner, Dream Rocker. A few of these have got some interesting actions, haven't they, as you watch them?
They have, yeah. I didn't think Willie particularly looked comfortable throughout, to be honest. He looked to be a little bit on one rein and just not really enjoying that ground from the word go, to be honest.
You pulled that from the paddock as well.
Yeah, I think his sire and his actions suggest that he definitely would appreciate plenty of cut in the ground. So we might not have seen him to his best effect here. The winner, Dream Rocker, honestly, she shocked me because she still has a leg in every county, and I just genuinely think she's still so raw. You can see obviously that pressure again. I actually think it's come slightly from Dream Rocker onto Relief, and also slightly from Crown Dreams in. I think it's just a little bit of congestion that's caused that sort of tightening up for Tom Marquand and Full Regalia, who ultimately was unlucky.
Do you think she might have won if she got the gap when she needed it? Well, let's have a look. Let's consider this first time round, and then we can consider that thought. This is the longer head-on.
You can see at this point there is plenty of room for Tom, and ultimately it's just been a bit of everyone congestion. I still think that there was a little bit of pressure from both angles. They're still immature horses that are all running around a bit under pressure when they've been given a flip, or the jockeys changed their hands. They've just run, and it's margins, but because they've done it on both sides at the same time, that's ended up where the pressure has come from. I don't think anyone's too much in trouble now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that again. On the fourth, Crown Dream just wants to hang off the rails. I'm not sure he liked the ground very much either.
He did, and actually the way he walked around the paddock compared to the way he galloped was totally different. He had quite a high knee action. He probably didn't love it either. So the two horses in front at the moment haven't let themselves down, that's for sure.
Yeah, you'll be able to see Crown Dreams in the Fitchley hay colours just seeking to hang off that slightly turning rail. Full Regalia's got room to go for the gap, but the gap starts to close almost immediately as the third Relief also edges to the right.
Yeah, they've literally just done it at exactly the same time. I think it's really unfortunate timing that Relief has slightly gone right, Crown Dreams has slightly gone to his left, and Tom Marquand ended up with not a lot of room for Shriners.
Might she have won, yes or no, the runner up with an interrupted run?
It's hard to say, to be honest with you. She has run on nicely afterwards. On that, I might say no, because I think Dream Rocker could have found again.
So Dream Rocker it was, 7-1, Full Regalia 15-2 another day, and who knows, Oisin Murphy the winning rider, Ed Walker the winning trainer, length and a quarter between the front two in the second race at Salisbury. That was the novice stakes over 7. I'll confirm the time for you, we'll confirm the result as well at Beverley in a moment. 1:27.97, that was 2.5 seconds slower than the standard, slightly slower furlong per furlong than we had with Rumanova in the previous race. Right, the third at Beverley was the Happy Retirement and Done Nursery. The focus pre-race was the money that came the way of Double Talk, 5-2 favourite, and wins by 3/4 of a length from What Would I Know, 17-2. Loubiere, also well backed, finished in third after that positive ride. The first and third definitely well supported, might be money for the second as well. Double Talk, 1:33.79 was her time, 4 seconds above the standard. Double Talk, you're going to hear a little bit more about the success now.
Great to be joined by Ben Curtis after a good performance by Double Talk in race 3 at Beverley. Ben, first question is, you're drawn on the inside. How much of an advantage is it to be able to ride the rail in a race like that?
I think it makes it a lot easier to get an attacking position. You're running downhill and into a bend, so you're saving a bit of ground there coming from stall 1, and she jumped very smart for me, got into her stride, and she relaxed lovely in front, so it was a perfect setup for me.
It wasn't a flash race, but physically she looks quite an attractive filly to look at.
Yeah, there's a bit of substance about her, and she's shown glimmers of form there already to date, and I think that was a nice step forward. Good weight carrying performance, and she saw out the new trip very well.
Winner yesterday, winner today. You've got 3 more rides today. I want to ask you a quick word about She's Got Bottle in the last. She looks the type of filly who goes well at Beverley and is in pretty good nick at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. She knows how to win. This track obviously suits her, and she's had a couple of runs which were probably not up to her best, but the handicap has taken a few pound off, and she's back to somewhere she loves. She's straightforward, and hopefully she turns up today.
Where does the Curtis bandwagon roll to this weekend?
Where am I this weekend? I'm in Ripon on Saturday. I'm in Thirst tomorrow, and it'll be Pontefract on Sunday. So yeah, we'll keep the head down and keep ploughing on.
Busy. Thanks, Ben. Well done.
Brilliant. Cheers, man.
At Bet365, we take horse racing very seriously. We go out of our way to feature every race that matters. If it's important to you, then it's important to us. We're the world's favorite online betting brand for many reasons. Horse racing is just one of them. Gamble responsibly.
Hartle going away now from
What about that run up the hill?
edging forward.
Come on, Starter's happy.
When that great head is lowered in battle. And the public adores it.
Right, it is that time again. It's the daily Whirlpool Lowdown as we tick closer to the Ebor Festival at York on day 1 next Wednesday. The small matter of the Juddmonte International, £1 million in prize money. And we have at the latest forfeit stage an 8. We're left with the 8, and hopefully we're going to get the majority of which stand their ground. We will wait, of course, until declaration stage on Monday. Alf Layla is there. We'll be joined potentially by one in the same colours, that being Mostadaf, the potential of both running maybe up for debate. We shall see. We've got the Sir Michael Stout trained pair potentially of Baybridge and Desert Crown. Desert Crown, who missed Royal Ascot. It would be great to see him at York. We'll see. Mostadaf potentially could be joined by one from the same stable in the form of Nashwa, the star filly who was beaten last time at Goodwood but brilliant at Newmarket. And then we come to the horse who has just been one of the stars of the season, Paddington, who goes back up in trip and will bid for a 5th successive Group 1 win. Could be joined by stablemate Point Lonsdale. There is no King of Steel. That's a notable defection at this stage. The Foxes could also run. So that's the 8. And we'll just watch with interest by the time we get to Monday morning and the declaration stage for the feature race of Wednesday, and for many the entire week. It's the Juddmonte International, which is down to 8, and that was today's Whirlpool Lowdown. onto the feature sprint of the day at Beverley, which is the Robin and Wendy Adams 40th anniversary handicap. 5 furlongs. Soul Seeker having a brilliant season. 4-1. King of Tonga, who's had a couple of seconds recently. 4-1 also. Aconcagua Mountain at 13-2. John Kirkup 7-1. Texas Man, who won last time out, is next in at 10-1. Don't forget his rider William Pyle claims to 7 today. That won't be the case anymore. It'll be down to 5 tomorrow. Sherdale 10-1. The Dunkirk Lads 11s. Stone of Destiny 11s. Some Power 14s. Resilience 18s. Indian Sounds 20s. Dandy Spirit 28-1. 33-1. Crypto Quest. We've got joint favourites King of Tonga and Soul Seeker, Graham, who won a Jump Jockey's Nunthorpe a couple of starts ago, and generally having a very good campaign.
He won a Jump Jockey's Nunthorpe, and it's quite apt with Skyber Ebor Festival coming up that he's by Oasis Dream. And I haven't seen many burn up the Knavesmire better than that fantastic sprinter. As for Soul Seeker, he's just in really good form. He looks well. He's running well. He won that Jump Jockey's Nunthorpe under Mihail Nolan. And then he went down fighting, beating a whisker in a smallish field at Newmarket. Slightly up in the weights again, but he's run this track well before. He's uncomplicated, and he should give you a good run for your money. There's number 2. Let's drop back a couple. The others I want to look at, key ones. I think we can definitely have a look at number 13 here. This is Aconcagua Mountain. I hope I've pronounced that right. This is a capable horse. He's been consistent on his last 3 runs. Not very big, but he looks fine. He's perky and well. Last 3 runs, 4th Musselburgh, 5th Musselburgh, behind Texas Man, not far behind, and 3rd at Air, Every Chance. Just a horse who's running at a reasonable level at the moment and might run well again here. Let's have a look at one of his old rivals, a much bigger type, number 8, Liver Chestnut, Texas Man, by Dandy Man, as the name suggests, and a horse who had 3 wins for Paul Midgley and made it 3rd time lucky for Craig Lidster, already on the mark today at Musselburgh. Keen, held up, swooped, led on the post. He had dropped to a good mark. He's been an 80 horse in the past, so he might still have a bit of mileage in that mark. Drop back 1 again. Here's another key player, perhaps the most interesting horse on deck here. King of Tonga is a well-handicapped horse. He's 5 pounds below his Chester win. Yes, it was a year ago, last August, but he's in good nick at the moment. Shaw head second over this course and distance, and then second at Pontefract behind Van Gerwen, who'd come a long way down the weights and had the saloon passage. So no reason to think that King of Tonga isn't in great form. And as I touched on, the handicap mark is pretty attractive. Any others we should mention? 1 or 2 have gone down early. 1 or 2 are waiting to be mounted. 1 or 2 are already mounted. We've already had a look at number... Oh, no, we haven't had a look at John Kirkup, actually. He's about to go down under David Allen. He's drawn 1 on the inside, an 8-year-old with 9 wins, but he's now 0 from 24, the Kirkup. And his 5th at Musselburgh was okay, but no better than okay. 10 is Dandy Spirit for Ben Curtis, drawn 13, perhaps not quite so good. 9 about to go through. I want to focus on Stone of Destiny. He has been an absolute money muncher, for the last 3 years since his Portland win. But the handicap mark is potentially attractive. 2 starts ago, he ran really well. He did a solo on the near side at Doncaster. Last time, it was soft ground, which has never been any good to Stone of Destiny. Joe Mason gets a chance to shine on Stone of Destiny today. He has been one of the most frustrating sprint handicappers around for a long while now. But I wouldn't put it past him to run a good race here. Just a couple to go. Here is number 8. We've seen Texas Man just about to go down. William Pyle claims a valuable 7 on that horse, who looks really well. And the King of Tonga, Zach Wheatley, claims 5 here. Keen sprint handicap, pace, Soul Seeker, King of Tonga, winner. Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, Steve Jones alongside previewed this race earlier and came down on the idea that previous course winner Sherdale might have the conditions and race set up to suit. Sherdale's 10-1. 4-1 the pair, Soul Seeker, King of Tonga. Aconcagua Mountain 13-2. John Kirkup 7-1. Texas Man along with Sherdale 10-1. And the case for the latter is, as you explained earlier, just to repeat.
Yeah, a horse that likes this course and distance, won twice over it last year, and was also beaten and nosed by May Blossom later in the season. So loves Beverley, and hasn't really had the conditions to suit this season, Sherdill. Much softer ground, mostly. The one time he did get fast ground at Catterick, he was only beaten a length and a half. And the other angle in is with Paul Midgley, who's a trainer, a good trainer of sprinters especially, is a trainer I always associate with having streaks, and he's on a hot one at the moment. He's had 5 winners from 24 runners in the last couple of weeks, and of those 24 runners, only 5 have finished out of the first 4, so they are running really well. And Sherdill's handicap potentially to go very close, because it's £4 lower than for those wins over this course and distance last season, and is suited by a fast pace, which he should get with the likes of Soul Seeker would be one, Crypto Quest be another, and there's a few others that like to push the pace, so I can't imagine there'll be much hanging around.
It was clear favourite, Soul Seeker earlier, 7-2 now, King of Tonga 4-1. They were 4-1 joints a few moments ago. Of the top 2 in the market, who do you prefer?
Well, I think Soul Seeker, you can guarantee that he's going to run his race, because he's holding his form spectacularly well, even though he's been very busy. He had 3 runs in the space of less than a fortnight earlier in the season, and still ran good races, and then he's got that win on the board in the Jump Jockeys Nunthorpe, which also proves he can carry big weights, because although he's got 9.11, he had 10.11 I think when he won that race at York, and he, as we saw earlier in the programme, he went very close at Newmarket on ground that wouldn't have suited him, much better on faster ground. So Soul Seeker, I think, is the most likely horse to be in there or thereabouts.
Achincale Mountain. Before we get back to Graham, bids for a first success of the year, quite a quick turnaround from that 3/4 length defeat, 1/3 to Wee Fat Mac at Ayr on Saturday. There has been a little bit of support coming the way of that horse.
Yeah, would certainly be a horse another one that holds his form very well. He backed up wins on the all-weather during the winter, and comes into it good, running good races. This would be a fair bit tougher than races he's running, and then there's Old Stone of Destiny.
Yes. We'll see if Texas Man can beat Achincale Mountain again. Money in the direction of the horse who was beaten into 5th a couple of starts ago, Texas Man, who's been reassessed. But as mentioned, William Powell will be down to the 5 tomorrow. It's 7 today, £2 higher than for that success last time, but theoretically a couple of pounds well in based on the rider's claim disappearing tomorrow. We'll see. Texas Man, one of the last time out winners in the piece, albeit the last time out winner in the field. The informed Soul Seeker at the top of the market, King of Tonga up there as well, and pound for pound a decent looking race. Graham, let's get back to you.
Yes, Nick, it's a tidy sprint handicap, but of course it's nothing flash. It's just a midweek sprint handicap worth £8.5 grand, but it's got a clutch of horses who are in really good form. Soul Seeker fits that bill. King of Tonga is right on his game. Texas Man is a recent winner. Anaconda Mountain is running respectably. One or two others. Dawn of Destiny is mighty frustrating, but look at that handicap mark. Just to flesh out the story for him, his last run is probably a chuck out. He just doesn't handle soft ground. But his effort before, when he raced on his own at Doncaster, it reads pretty well in the context of this. So good luck to Joe Mason trying to get the very best out of the mercurial Stone of Destiny. As for Soul Seeker, it's much more solid, linear progress of late. Good win at York, good second at Newmarket, up another 2, drawn in stall 5. Danny Tudop's on board. If you give me a free one here, you'd have to push me quite hard. I think King of Tonga might be the safe option. Zach Wheatley for Declan Carroll, and a horse who's below his previous winning mark. When he won at Chester, he was from a £5 higher mark. Second over course and distance. The Dunkirk lads was 4th that day. Second at Pontefract behind Van Gerwen, well handicapped. The Dunkirk lads blew the start and ran poorly as a result that day. So King of Tonga is an obvious contender. 100-30 Soul Seeker, 9-2 the King of Tonga. Anaconda Mountain 7-1. Texas Man, who swooped late at Musselburgh, 9-1. Likewise Stone of Destiny. Likewise John Kirkup. The Dunkirk lads needs to jump better than last time. Here we go with Malcolm.
Yeah, thanks, Graham. Just the Dunkirk lads. He's gone straight in. That's it. They're all in. We're set to race. They're ready. Just rearing in stall 2, Crypto Quest. That's it, they're off. They're racing and away to a pretty level break in the Robin and Wendy Adams 40th anniversary handicap stakes. Soul Seeker away well. The maroon and white horse in white cheek pieces also away well. Crypto Quest, the red and yellow to the inside. Brazilians right up with them, 3 deep in black and white. And the near side, Akonkewa Mountain, the red jacket with the white sleeves and a black cap also prominent. John Kirk up behind the pace with Sherdil and Texas Man, and they're followed by King of Tonga. Centre pack at this stage races Stone of Destiny, followed through deeper out by Indian Sounds. Towards the back of the field is Sun Power, so too the Dunkirk lads, and outpaced at the back is Dandy Spirit, and they're inside the final 2 furlongs. Soul Seeker in the centre, tackled by Akonkewa Mountain. Far side Crypto Quest is kept going. Behind them trying to pick up is Sherdil. John Kirk up kept going from Texas Man, and near side Resilience is trying to stay on. Up front Soul Seeker trying to fend them off. Crypto Quest to the far side. Akonkewa Mountain trying to mow down Soul Seeker. Soul Seeker finding a bit more for Danny Tudhope, and it's going to be a double for Danny. Soul Seeker wins. Close behind Crypto Quest, the inside Akonkewa Mountain out wide, followed by John Kirkup and Sherdil.
It's the second win of the year. He's just a horse who's just had a very, very strong time of things. Was denied narrowly last time at Newmarket, but Soul Seeker wasn't to be denied on this occasion. Has beaten Crypto Quest, who reared up in the stalls and made stealthy headway over on that far side to eventually finish second. Akonkewa Mountain, who was one of the horses like the winner who sat towards the 4 of the pace, finishing in third, but a horse who seldom, if ever, runs a bad races back into the winner's enclosure.
Yeah, he's very consistent. He's holding his form sensationally well, and he got on the front end, and they went a fair enough gallop, but nothing's got into this whatsoever, because Crypto Quest, he reared just as the stalls were about to open, and he was another one to set the pace, and you wouldn't expect him to stick in there, but he did to finish third. And then the bottom horse, Akonkewa Mountain, whose name I've been trying to pronounce in my head for a little while.
You'll be climbing it next. We looked at it. It's a package 18 days down in Argentina if you fancy it.
Yeah, I'd rather have 18 days trying to pronounce it, to be honest. But Soul Seeker's a really cracking horse, and David O'Mara, we've seen it so many times at all levels of handicap sprinters, he does well with. But here's one that he's got to run an 8th start in a row inside the first 3 and a second win, having won that Nunthorpe.
Amazing horse. He did run twice within a couple of days earlier in the summer, so maybe that entry at Catterick on Monday will be taken up. We shall see. Soul Seeker wins at Beverley as we go back to Lydia at Salisbury.
I'm going to have a chat with you, Jonathan Horton, who trains Isle of Skye, and you've taken this horse over from George Margeson. How long have you had him?
About 4 or 5 weeks, I think. He's had a bit of a break, and Elsie said, would I like to train for him? I wasn't sure, but yes, we're here, we are.
You have to think about it long.
Well, no, not really, but I'm sure I'm in for a few interesting conversations when I get it wrong.
Ground-wise, what do you think? Wasn't it quite heavy ground the last time we saw this horse?
Yeah, I mean, Ribchester generally want a bit of cut. I thought the ground yesterday would have been perfect for him. It's dried up a little bit. So I might, he might, I don't think it'll worry him, but I think he's probably a little bit better with a bit of cut.
And what has he shown you so far at home?
He's a charming horse. I haven't done much with him. He's done everything with a smile on his face. So I think he'll, hopefully give us a good showing.
Okay, well, I wish you luck with this project, and let's hope we don't have any angry phone calls.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, new starter for the E. Johnson Horton yard. That's Island of Skye. We'll see where that horse features in the market. They go down long intervals for the 340 race 3, which is class 6 handicap over a mile. Betting looks like this. And a horse we saw a week ago, Anglo-Saxon, is 7-2 to win. Eye of the Water was backed earlier 4-1. Roundabout Silver is next in 6-1. Calamunda is a 13-2 shot, who was shorter earlier, and in fact would have been vying for favouritism at a point earlier in the morning. Calamunda 13-2, fourth choice in the market. Mujib 7-1. Island of Skye we've just seen 9-1 from 11-1, having been shorter earlier. Boom Boom Power 9-1. Millicent at 9-1. 28-1 Florence Street. Rainbow Mirage is 33-1, and the outside of the full 11 that stand their ground, that's Valenti, who's 100-1. So at the top of the market, a horse who ran exactly a week ago, that is Anglo-Saxon, who ran here, was third to Always Fearless in that race to the Gentleman Amateur Jockeys later on in the card last week, or earlier in the card, I should say, last week. Anglo-Saxon, who's back to Salisbury again. Benoit Dosayet taking up the ride for Patrick Owens, got the draw in 3. And chief market rival now is Eye of the Water, who's been backed for another success potentially at Salisbury. We'll see. It's the third race as we go back to Lydia.
I found this race quite interesting actually, Red, because there's some consistent horses that you can see definitely playing a part, like Eye of the Water and Anglo-Saxon, but there's some others that you can kind of carve an argument for on their best form.
Yeah, it's another, we've got a bigger field, but another that's fairly tricky to try and work out. I agree, Eye of the Water and Anglo-Saxon, really consistent, both like to be ridden positively, but drawn opposite sides of the track really in 3 and 10. But we have got some interesting horses. Boom Boom Power is one that is certainly improving. And then a couple, Island of the Sky, I'm interested in. Pete Johnson Horton, new trainer there on the back of a break. I thought he wouldn't be without a chance on some of his better form.
Yes, she doesn't know a great deal about him so far. She was thinking that the ground might have been better for him yesterday than it was today, with it having dried out a little bit more. But she's going to be learning quite a bit. This horse 0 for 5 on turf, though has won at Kempton and won there on seasonal debut.
Yeah, and I just felt, although he's not won on turf yet, he's not disgraced himself. And, okay, maybe it's dried up a little bit too much, but having run on very testing ground, which I didn't think was totally suitable, he probably wants something just in the middle. But I just thought a horse like him might be the type that could go and run okay on stable debut. He looked very well, he looked fit, and was one to maybe keep on side. Even if it's not today, I'd have put him in my notebook, I think.
Yeah, these little cheek pieces are off here. Anglo-Saxon is the better drawn of the consistent pair, is the favourite, just ahead of Eye of Water. Roundabout Silver is towards the 4 here. There are a few of them that can dwell and be a bit tardy from the start, and I don't tend to like that over the mile here at Salisbury. I wonder whether Roundabout Silver might be one of them.
Yeah, I just think he's really effective at quirky tracks such as Brighton. For whatever reason, his best form has been there, and especially, we've been saying this season, or at least the last a couple of meetings, it's been hard to make up ground here at Salisbury. So those that are ridden positively and forward are probably at a bit of an advantage, and like we say already, the consistent two that are at the top of the market do get ridden that way. So that's a plus. Kalamunda, who is still learning and on handicap debut today, is interesting. A mark of 60, it's hard to judge on what he's done so far, but he's a big horse, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a step forward in this type of level. And I also think from his runs so far he'll have learnt a bit and might just be able to hold a nice position.
Strictly, it's sort of slightly mildly regressive form, but it wasn't to the degree that would really hugely worry me, and potentially this could be certainly a more suitable kind of grade for him to be able to be racing in. So that's Kalamunda, who's making his handicap debut for a mark of 60. Others that are maybe a little bit tardy, Mujid, one of them, Rainbow Mirror, she could do that as well, although this is an ease of grade for her. I suppose you could argue that.
It is, but the trick at this track, wow, I got it out eventually, would be the question mark, because although she has won at this trip, it's been on a much sharper track. I was thinking it was at Lingfield. Yeah. So, a stiff enough mile would probably be a stretch for her. So that would be my concern. Although she can be slow away, like I say, it's not easy to make up places here at the moment, so that would be a negative as well.
Yeah, agreed. Then there's Millicent as well, who you can give a chance to on her Nottingham third, having been eased by the handicapper, and arguably this is a slightly easier contest, but again, she's going to have to get the start right, because she can dwell on occasion as well.
Yeah, she can either jump well into stride or sort of blow it totally, so her chances totally depend on the first few strides, I guess. She was a course and distance winner last year and some okay efforts, but one that's a little bit inconsistent.
And then we discussed Florence Street for Lydia Richards, making her seasonal debut after 246 days. You were making the point that she tends to build on her seasonal debut. She has run well over this course and distance, but she has also run poorly on her final 2 starts, with quite a break between them at the end of last season. So there's just a couple more left to go forward. Eye of the Water's got to go into stall 10, and then we've just got Boom Boom Pow into stall 2. Let's hear Richard.
Thanks very much indeed. Yep. Which reminds me of those old animated Batman episodes. Boom Boom Pow, who's got to go into stall number 2. First start for Seamus Durack. And Eye of the Water, I think, is going to be loaded, say last, but holding Eye of the Water back. They're going to go just about together, I think. So Eye of the Water into stall number 10, and Boom Boom Pow into stall number 2. And then we'll be all set for the Mildren Construction Handicap. It's run over 1 mile. And The 11 runners leave the starting stalls. Reasonably good line early on. Roundabout Silver and Boom Boom Pow, the two greys towards the inside, are racing prominently. Anglo-Saxon with the white face and Valenti in the white jacket, and the quartet closer to the running rail currently have the advantage. Island of Skye in the purple colours drops onto their tails, with Florence Street, Anglo-Saxon's white face, Kalamunda making ground down the centre in maroon and white and coming right through to take up the lead. So Kalamunda allowed to stride on. Valenti and Roundabout Silver give chase. Island of Skye racing on the inside of Boom Boom Pow, the second of the greys, and Anglo-Saxon with the white face. Millicent towards the right-hand side races alongside Florence Street. Towards the inside is Rainbow Mirage, Mujid, and just about last at this stage is the orange jacket of Eye of the Water. So running downhill, just over 4 furlongs to travel, Kalamunda, who led after a quarter of a mile, continues to press on, with Valenti in second, Roundabout Silver the grey disputing third place with Anglo-Saxon. Then Boom Boom Pow, Island of Skye, just trying to get off the running rail, a bit short of room, with Florence Street and Millicent improving on that one's outside. Then Eye of the Water, who's being smuggled into the race now in the orange colours as they make their way with 2.5 furlongs to go. Anglo-Saxon moves up threateningly on the outside of Kalamunda. Then Valenti, Island of Skye has angled out now off the rails with Millicent. Eye of the Water pulled up towards the back is Florence Street as they make their way down with 1.5 furlongs to go. Anglo-Saxon hanging tough. Out in the lead from in second Kalamunda. Roundabout Silver up the running rail, but still Anglo-Saxon holds sway. Roundabout Silver up the inside. Island of Skye is running on late in the piece as well, but Anglo-Saxon from Roundabout Silver and Island of Skye, that's the way they'll finish, with Kalamunda in fourth, Valenti, then behind these Mujid and Eye of the Water.
Anglo-Saxon has won this mile handicap for Benoit de la Sayette and Patrick Owens. In second is Roundabout Silver for Paddy Bradley and Simon Dow, and back in third is Island of Skye on debut for E. Johnson Horton. Quite a good start for the team. George Downing on board. The handicap debutant Kalamunda has just held on from fourth, having been given a positive ride by Tom Marquand. Everything seemed to be in Anglo-Saxon's favour. He's a consistent horse, he was relatively well drawn, and he's been able to win.
Yeah, and he was well positioned throughout, right up on the pace, travelled beautifully, and sort of, to be honest, throughout the race looked as if he was going to be the winner, and just really smooth. I think that was the main thing. Everything was kept very simple.
Yeah, and he is a straightforward horse. The run style was suited, the draw was suitable. Roundabout Silver has come through nicely from rear, that run style being slightly against him here at Salisbury, but that suggests that he's running into good form.
Yeah, definitely. That was a nice run. He was fortunate to get a nice split up the rail, and the gaps opened when necessary. Out wide, Eye of the Water was dropped in, but the one that had the most troublesome start was Florence Street, who tripped and went right down on her nose. Sort of did well to stay in partnership with Oisin Murphy, actually.
And she ended up being pulled up by Oisin, so whether she did herself a little bit of damage or whether it was a little bit of a miss as a result of that, but Oisin taking a conservative view and pulling her up. I hope she's okay. This is where Kalamunda is moved up by Tom Marquand to take over from Roundabout Silver, who in the early stages is sort of tracking against the rail.
Yeah, there was no real pace on, so Tom Marquand sort of grabbed the race by the scruff of the neck and let Kalamunda roll on, and ultimately still wasn't much of a gallop. Kalamunda very much had his ears pricked and was in a nice rhythm, but again, we've seen the pace hold up well. The only real one that made up much ground was Island of Skye, who did get switched and fly home in the closing stages, but again, the first couple home were the first few in the field the whole way.
Yeah, apart from Valenti, who kind of weakens out of things in the white colours and the braces. This is where Roundabout Silver's trying to get his gap between to come through for second, but Anglo-Saxon has taken over. You're right about Island of Skye. I mean, I'll be marking that up slightly. I think Johnson Horton's going to be pleased with that first start per yard.
Yeah, I do too. He's had to switch out to get a clear passage. Took a little bit of time to hit top stride, but in that final furlong, once he got a nice gap and really dropped his head, he's pretty well flown home, and yeah, I think she'll be delighted with that. Lots of encouragement. If she does feel like the ground is just about quick enough as well, then she'll be delighted that he's let himself down on it, and I'm sure there'll be races going his way on the turf.
Eye of the Water, things probably haven't really... Eye of the Water, rather, things haven't rolled for him, really, from full 10 in the orange colours.
He's just drawn so wide. Kevin Stock decided to take him back and get a bit of cover, and he's had to obviously switch out wide to pass horses. He's plugged on, but I think he prefers when there's a really strong gallop and a bit of a pace collapse, and that didn't happen today.
No, it didn't. It was Anglo-Saxon who picks up his second success of the season. He started off with a win at Yarmouth. Since then, he's been running pretty consistently well. He ran nicely here over the course and just behind under Simon Walker last time we saw him. And here he has won an Benoit de la Sayette. Anglo-Saxon wins the third here at Salisbury.
Yeah, 5th career success. First anywhere by Yarmouth. Anglo-Saxon 130 wins. Roundabout Silver 72 second. Island of Skye 15-2 finished in third. A length and half a length, I should say, the distances. The time there, as we reach the midway point of the card, we've got the Group 3 Sovereign to come next. It's 1:43.16, 3.26 above the standard. We'll confirm the result at Beverley as well from the decent sprint handicap for the card itself, the Robin and Wendy Adams 40th anniversary handicap, and the pretty extraordinary and consistent Soul Seeker 16-5 favourite wins. Danny Tudhope again. David O'Mara the winning trainer. Crypto Quest 33-1 reared in the stalls, didn't stop the horse, finishing in next second. Akinkayo Mountain 7-1 was third. And the time was 1:01.31. It's another winner on the card for Danny Tudhope.
Soul Seeker's in great form. Hardy sprint handicapper. Danny, every stable needs a few like this who just keep turning up.
Yeah, he's been so consistent this year. He's won a couple of races now as well. So no, I got such a good start here as well. I was able to just get a breather in from the first furlong or two. So he did things the right way around and just saved a bit for the end.
Challenger on the far side, Challenger on the near side, but he just kept finding a bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so much speed this horse. I could have gone quicker, but like I said, I was able to just fill him up and save a bit.
Where is Mr. Tudhope going for the rest of the weekend?
Wolverhampton tomorrow, Ripon Saturday. I think Summergand will go there and Great St Wilfrid. So yeah, he got withdrawn in the Stewards Cup, so I don't know why, but anyway, fingers crossed he can run well.
Summergand's another of those good quality sprint handicappers that every stable needs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, David's got plenty of them in the yard, and they keep turning up every week, every month, and they keep running well. So yeah, fingers crossed he can win.
Double on the day. Well done.
Thank you.
Horse racing is changing. Shared ownership allows anyone to be part of racing like never before. Opulent Thoroughbreds operates at the highest level with top quality horses and first-rate trainers, regular stable visits, social events, and not forgetting your share of the prize money and sales proceeds once the horse is sold. Nothing compares to the thrill of watching your horse win. Be part of the action with Opulent Thoroughbreds.
Well, Al-Azi sat motionless most of the journey, produced the lead just in the nick of time by Crowley, a classic Crowley ride to win by a neck on the line.
The Willie Haggis trained 6-year-old was an 8-length last at halfway, but the super cool Crowley brought him through to win under the shadow of the post.
Soprano is your current market leader at 9-4. I'm looking to take her on actually here with Charlie Johnson's Caroline Reaper, last seen winning here just a couple of weeks ago.
Broke really slowly, went for a run up the far side, couldn't get through, and then switched late on, stayed on really strongly. She was certainly an eye catcher and one for the traffic.
Heredia finally got to show her true colours at this level. She broke cleanly from stall one and Sean Liver got a lovely position in behind a nice pace.
Parlando was another to take note of from the race after a long break and could be one to look forward to in the future.
However, Pierre Lepin is the one I'm siding with.
Things did not go right for him surely, and I think he's got his perfect conditions here.
I'm looking forward to a rematch between Bucanero Forte and Unquestionable.
The sons of Wootton Bassett, Bucanero Fuerte and Unquestionable go head to head once again after Bucanero Fuerte won their first battle.
The eye catcher and the future winner. Surely, next time out will be Dermot Wells, red for Burnham. The gamble was spoiled, but the penny dropped in the closing half of furlong of the Chris Hayes.
Yeah, good luck to all the Tipstar entries and those previewing, of course, last week's racing and reviewing it as well. The outstanding superimposed racing TV studio made you feel like you were there as well with that last entry. So best of luck to all after last weekend. Right, let's get to Beverley, their next race. It's the penultimate. We're already race 5 of the 6. This is the Churchill Tires Handicaps for over 2 miles, and Trooper Bisty is 6-4. They were near enough joint favourites, him and Cold Henry earlier, but clear favourite Trooper Bisty for Sir Mark Prescott, who won this race last year. Cold Henry's 15-8. Hellenista is 11-2. Fox Flame 12-1. Oasis Prince 20-1. Same price Dragon Ball Prince. Affinity 25. Shadowfax 33. Spice Rum 40-1. All 9 go for the Stayers race. Let's get back to Graham.
Welcome back to Beverley. These 6 race cards fly by. We're up to race 5 already. Start with one of the roughies for this staying handicap. 9 Spice Rum, Ryan Sexton, Rebecca Menzies. A Seahenge filly who's only had 4 runs, therefore she's open to improvement, but she needs to improve. It was a fairly one-pace 7th of 9 at Newcastle last time. Stiffer test of stamina might help, but it's only a might. Let's move back to more of a known quantity and stronger, older, more robust mare by Nathaniel, sire of the mighty Enabled, strong, workmanlike Hellenista. One of the likelier lasses for a place, I think, here. 3 wins and has dropped in the weights, down from 66 to 59. 2nd at Carlisle, good. 4th at York, not too bad. 4th at Catterick, led and pretty one pace last time. She's one of the likely lasses to go forward here, but there'll be a couple of others on the pace here. Could sneak a place, for sure. As for the win market, well, that depends on a couple, namely Cold Henry and Trooper Bisty. We'll pick up those 2 in a moment. Let's drop back 1, 2, Cold Henry, right on cue.